but at the same token, both governments, rightly so, are looking for any savings if there's a chance that the project isn't going to proceed. During our discussions at council, there were a number of collateral issues or questions about it. I use collateral just because they're related to, but not directly to this report, about the Blue Water share of the sewage treatment facility costs and so forth, and where they stand. And I know that there's a discussion there about the joint agreement. The joint agreement provides them with, and they indicated they were very upfront throughout the process as part of the tri-municipal committee and as the joint board. Their challenge is like anybody else's challenge, a financial one of developing collection systems that can help pay for the facility that they're about to build. And so they're very forthright about participating, because with their participation, it strengthened the case, if I can use that, for the funding agencies to say, hey, this is 3 municipalities, not just 2. And so there was collateral benefit from the water's participation. When the discussions were held with Minister Kaplan at the time about our project, he indicated great enthusiasm for it. Our concern that was expressed at the time was, this is a big project, and we have these large areas of rural, unserviced areas that need to be serviced, and that's a major consideration for us. His indication at that time was, we recognize that you've got to start somewhere, and of course the fateful words, unrecorded anywhere but other than people's memories, was start with the plant and then come back to see us when you're ready to do your collection system. So we proceeded on that basis, and we've made overtures every time there's a Good Roads or a AMO conference to bring forward our continued interest in developing those. But we're working our way through the EAs, so we're not really prepared to do that. So Blue Water, I want to be fair to them, is that they've indicated that they have a desire. They reaffirmed it on at the joint board, that they recognize that and they want to support Lambton Shore's use of their capacity. I think they indicated. And the lawyers were to meet on Monday afternoon after our meeting to work out the details of how that would take place. How would our interests be protected in terms of our need to utilize that capacity to develop meet the servicing needs and growth needs of our municipality, and not have all of a sudden, oh, we want it now. And so they needed to work through, and possibly it's something that this council should meet with that council to talk about it, because and I think a case could be made to say, in the interest of fairness, while you're having your 10-year look-see, the burden of this cost is being placed on the shoulders of these 2,713 taxpayers while you're having a look-see. And to present to them, is there not some other way of handling that? Offer your money up front so this doesn't become a burden on them. And if subsequently down the road you want to opt out, we could reimburse it. So that's, again, I'm trying to reference this is a snapshot, because those discussions have not taken place. They need to be taking place before council moves forward on it. Another opportunity was to talk about the ability to retract capacity. And I'm going to tread lightly on this, because the solicitor rightly expressed his concern about council discussing legal contracts that we have with developers on the allocation of capacity. Now, he's written a report, a memo that I can provide to you in camera, but in general, it's not the approach that when he spoke to us was, at this stage, given the legal contracts that they have, it could be a voluntary offer from a developer, but not a mandatory request of it. That said, I want to touch on the pinery, because the pinery, again, is a sorry.
Question.
I guess I mean we're here today. I don't know whether we're going to have a decision at the end of the day, or what we're going to do, or whether we're going to look at information, but the possibility of having Barry here to be able to ask him some really specific questions in camera about this whole issue is pretty key, because we've never had that chance to do so.
We'll see where that goes.
Failing that, or if council wish to go on camera, I can elaborate a little bit further on it. I'm reluctant to at this point.
John,
in-camera discussion, and that's where it's gonna go.
Other technologies, as the project was nearing its fulfillment, I'm not sure the term was nearing down, came forward, such as the blue frog issue and biodigestion systems and so on and so forth. And as I pointed out, these were in various forms considered by the tri-municipal committee at the time. As early as 2001, even in the bi-municipal committee, Lambton Shores and South Huron engaged in a discussion about addressing the septage treatment issue and how that might be handled. It was touched on. If I can, council will allow, I could expand a little bit on the complexity of that, because quite frankly, septage systems and septage treatment, septage systems themselves are private systems. They're monitored and they fall under the jurisdiction that was delegated to the county of Lambton. So it really isn't the Lambton Shores power that they have. They can ask for and get support from the county in terms of addressing that issue. But in terms of why that wasn't pursued, we explored it. We explored whether septic treatment could be added to the Arcona plant that had some capacity room and was in existence. Could it be integrated into a treatment solution that was being developed in the Grand Bend area? We recognized that South Huron had septic treatment at its Exeter facility. Elsie Craig was developing a septic treatment facility. And so the original objectives and discussions were really oriented towards, and part of the presentation to the Bill Canada folks was about protecting the Great Lakes from failing septic systems, protecting we're high, the tourism industry is very important, second to our agricultural economy, and to jeopardize that through septic system, it was part of the business case that was presented to Bill Canada about why we want to do this. We want to protect our natural heritage, and that was very evident by everybody. And so the genesis of that was to provide people with an alternative collection system to a tertiary treatment plant that could actually improve effluent quality. That was the theory at this point in time. So it was somewhat seen as counterproductive to invest $1 million for septic handling when your objective of your overall strategy was to try and provide people an option to offload their septic systems. In the discussion of a user pay system, the conversation came around to, okay, how would we cover the cost of this if it was being a service that was being provided to people with septic systems in our 3 communities. The septic haulers would be looking for, and there was some merit in having one close by to such a large number of septic systems, but it's a competitive business, and they would be looking at, if we were looking at a full cost septic treatment facility, so that the cost of septic was being paid for by the people that were generating the septic, that cost of the plant, $900,000 estimate at that time, and subsequent to that, then an additional $900,000 for life cycle replacement of that component would have to be factored in, the operating costs of it, so on and so forth, hydro, whatever it would take to run it. And you develop some form of a per cubic meter treatment charge that you would assess to the septic haulers. So the discussion centered around, okay, if we have that, and we could, I'll throw in any number, if it was $250 to treat septic at this facility, and Exeter was offering it at $100, and Elsie Craig was offering it at $50, just for the sake of argument, you're in a competitive market, and so it's up to septic haulers, and you can't mandate them that you have to take it here. And so we had those early discussions. It was never really, the sense was that it was not something we would pursue at that time, but could be considered down the road. The blue frog and biodigestion systems are similar in nature to that. I reported to council, again, I'm not, can't think of the dates right now, in a report that mentioned that some of the capacity of the existing lagoons is being eaten up, for lack of a better term, by